sword travel. You're just one of those haver people, aren't you? You've always been a haver, haven't you? You're a haver. You're a haver.
Jimmy, that's a terrible thing to say to me. I would never say anything like that.
You know, sometimes it benefits people to know how others think of them. And I'm sorry that you have to call you, but you're a haver. Everyone thinks so.
Hey, Crystal!
In a second, Joe. That hurt, Jenny. That really hurt. I hated Crystal. I hate her. Actually, I hated in Crystal what I lacked in myself. I liked Crystal. I wanted to be Crystal. I wanted that direct connection from my brain to my mouth, leaving no time to edit thoughts. Crystal just said things, sometimes smart things, sometimes stupid things, but she said them, and she got results.
That with us, and we look forward to the spring musical, and hopefully we'll have a little preview for that. All right, so we'll move into our business agenda now. We do have another presentation on, which we're going to do in conjunction with new business item number 1. Makes more sense to do it that way. So we will. Oh, there he is. Okay. Oh. Oh, okay. Okay. We're having an internet issue, so do you want us to wait a minute? Okay. Okay. So we'll move into our business agenda now. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda? Ms. LaCara, seconded by Mr. Biangasso. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, the agenda is adopted. Items C through F require one resolution for adoption. Those are the minutes, financial items, and bills. Is there a motion? Ms. Meyer, seconded by Mr. Scragg. Any questions on items C through F? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, we have one communication. It's a letter from Eileen Hertz, the board president of Western Suffolk BOCES, and she is informing us that Marianne Zappano, a trustee on the Western Suffolk BOCES Board of Education for 27 years, resigned her position effective immediately to relocate and be closer to her children and grandchildren. We thank Ms. Zappano for her decades of public service. The Board of Education, I had a letter sent to the board thanking her for her service as well, and we wish her the best in her future endeavors. All right, that brings us to new business item number 1, which is a discussion of the 9-period day recommended by the Curriculum Council. This has been a matter that has been discussed from time to time, and we're in a position this year, we believe, to discuss it in greater depth. And with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Murphy, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum, to talk about the proposed 9-period day edition of Walt Whitman High School, and to give us a little history of the most recent version of the 9-period day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ciapetta, Board of Education. This has been a labor of love for a lot of people. Before I begin, I just want to thank, obviously, the administration at the high school, the teaching staff, the supervisors, because this has been a lot of work over the last couple of months to be able to give you some serious answers and take a serious look on whether or not a 9-period day would be feasible at the high school for future school years. So to give just a little bit of a history, Walt Whitman High School did have a 9-period day. It was eradicated in 2011 because of budgetary constraints. During that time, in the last year of the 9-period day, approximately 1,896 students were attending Walt Whitman High School, with 152 teachers and 257 courses offered. After the removal of the 9-period day into an 8-period day, although we see less periods, we have just as much teaching staff, but what we've seen arise is in ICT or inclusion classes with special education teachers, as well as core subject classes to be able to spread out the number of students with IEPs among our ICT classes, which does not address the fact for elective classes or other support classes that would be provided within those additional periods we lost in 2011. To give you some perspective on what a high school student has to take throughout the course of their high school career and how much time is devoted or is being able to be devoted to exploring potential college or career exploration, potential college majors. That is done through a lot of elective coursework, through some courses that would not be current or they're not currently offered right now at the high school. So in a 9th grade year, pretty much your whole school, your whole 8-period day is devoted to core academic coursework, having 4 academic classes. You're required to take 1 music or art or fine arts class in your 9th grade year with half-year physical education, a world language course, and a lunch, which means leaves no time for any electives, any additional coursework, or any type of courses that would steer your interest, whether it be math, science, in the math science electives or in the humanities. When you get into 10th grade, you still have those main core subjects, but you are provided 1 elective course or the ability to take 1 elective course in your 10th grade year. In 11th grade, it gets even less, where you're only allowed to take half a credit of an elective. And why we wanted to visually show you this is because a lot of times, and a lot of our students, we have a very high rate of students going into post-secondary institution. They're making decisions on what their careers will be and what colleges they'll be going to at the point by their 11th grade year. So the inability to be able to take other additional courses or to be able to explore what their likes, what their interests are, make it very difficult in being able to select a major or select some type of school that they would like to attend. So telling statistics, our school and our school district is ever changing. In 2010-11, we were servicing about 345 students for academic intervention services. For those that don't know what AIS is, it's those students that are being seen as being deficient in literacy and math, but now in all 4 core subject areas, where we give additional supports, whether that be an additional period with a teacher, some homework or some remediation, or even homework help. In 2010-11, we had 345, with 618 students identified as having ENL, or additional second language learners. By 2021-22, and that was the removal of that additional period, as we see in 2010-11, we service less students with AIS, although we have more students identified as needing academic intervention services. Just to give a bigger perspective, we have 79 students that we consider called program monitored. And what that is we review their courses, but we're not able to give that additional support because they do not have the room within an 8-period day to be able to take it. We also see that we have a 50% increase in the number of ENL seats with students, and also a 50% increase in the number of ENL classes that we provide. So with that being said, we see that students, especially those that have an interrupted education or in the ENL or have English as a second language, they're not graduating in a normal 4-year span, they're graduating in a 5-year span because of the limitations of an 8-period day. Last year, we took a survey, and what we wanted to see from last year's seniors what they thought, Whitman, what changes we should make. What areas do they think we should focus on for future years and future graduating classes? And the 3 biggest areas that these outgoing seniors talked about was, well, 1, I like the fact that 1/4 of them said everything was great, so that's a good thing. So we had 1 out of every 4, and Mr. Costa did not bribe them. But the 3 most important areas, the 3 largest areas we saw, was additional elective classes, time in the day to either get time to be able to relax, digress, decompress, or just time for those classes. With the 3rd biggest being social emotional support, and that really goes into time in the day. When you're constantly on the move, you have no time to be able to really reflect, use services within in a building because you're constantly on the move and on the go. The current limitations that we face now with an 8-period day is, as I mentioned before, is AIS. We have more than 90% of our students are going to post-secondary institutions. That's an amazing feat for such a diverse district. What we need to do, and how we're going to even improve more on that, is being able to give those students that are struggling the supports they need, not only to be successful in their courses, but to be successful in Regents, to be successful outside the hallways of Walt Whitman High School. So we need to be able to give those support services. E&L programming, like I mentioned before, a lot of our E&L students cannot graduate on a 4-year track. They just have too many required courses to take, and we just don't have the time in the day within an 8-period day to get them to that goal line in 4 years. Our plus classes, which is classes that have remediation, are kids that are struggling within the 4 core subjects. They get a period and a half, much like a lab class. If you remember, in science, you have a lab for all 4 subject areas. And what we do in that plus classwork is it gives those focal points of remediation. It gives them that extra little bit. But the problem in the confines of an 8-period day, we are limited by how many plus classes we can provide. We also saw we have expanded tremendously, and that's through Mr. Blair, through the teachers, and through the administration, the number of AP courses we provide. We provide over 30 of them at Walt Whitman High School, but there are limitations in the amount or how many classes a student can take in advanced level coursework. What's a great thing and a great testimony to the high school is a lot of our students walk with 6 or more credits going out. That means sometimes a semester or even a full year of paid college coursework. They're walking in as sophomores. Imagine what we can do with an extra period to be able to give them more of it, which is more money savings for them in post-secondary institutions. We also see that electives, as we talked about, for career exploration, and those more importantly for our fine arts, art, music, dance, being able to let them take academic coursework but still being able to focus or being able to be provided an experience in fine arts. To give some perspective as well, we're in Western Suffolk BOCES. We are the only district that does not have the ability to, or right now, does not have a 9-period day or some time of extended periods. In all of Suffolk County, there's only 2 districts that do not have the ability to have an additional period to the student coursework. So if given the opportunity to have an additional period, these are some of the things that we would love to be able to focus on in having a new schedule format. Really is the teacher collaboration, the ability to have during the day data team meetings, being able to have algebra teachers meet with algebra teachers, being able to focus on providing skills and strengths within each coursework to be able to provide that remediation or that support for students, but also just to be able to do things with students and extra help and an ability to have some focused small group learning during the day. So it really works in the terms of professional development as well as additional student support. Increased academic opportunities, like I mentioned before, not just for your advanced level students, but also your remedial students, the E&L students, the ability to be able to focus on having students get that support so that not only they graduate in time, but they take that advanced coursework, whether it be Regents, honors, AP, that they're more successful and they're more prepared, or they're better prepared for post-secondary goals. We also, one of the biggest things we want to do is really focus on our E&L population. Being able to get them to be able to graduate on time is a huge feat, and I think it's possible and plausible if we're able to focus and have some additional time during the day to be able to utilize that. And as I'm going through, I don't want to read verbatim, but is the greater number of electives, the ability to have students take things that may direct them in what their passions will be when they leave the halls of Whitman. We want them to be inspired. We want them to be able to find something, see if they like it. They may take it and say, I don't want to do that. But we don't have that opportunity or ability to be able to do that right now. And I think that's important for students, especially when many of these students are paying a very high price tag to go to school, whether it be trade school or in post-secondary, four-year college. So in 9-period day, what would that mean for us as far as the amount of teaching staff? Well, the high school, Mr. Blair, the counselor, have done a very good job over the years to be able to support some of the needs for remedial needs. But really what it would be, it was an additional 8 teachers at the high school, and approximately cost about $800,000 in additional costs to be able to, and that would be per year. What we do look at also, and what we did is we took a tentative study to see where we think this does not mean it would be exactly, but what some of the teaching positions would be within those 8 positions. And we feel like areas of world language, math, art, obviously our electives, business, computer science, things that would give more opportunities for students to take additional coursework outside of their 4 core subject areas. And really the time frame, or what an 8-period day looks to a 9-period day as per contract. It really only extends the day by 5 minutes, and really your passing times and your in-class times are pretty much the same, minus a few minutes that are taken out by periods. So that is really what we wanted to show. We wanted to provide this information to the board in a public forum to be able to say these are things that we find that this would be a benefit and success. Curriculum Council did deliberate on this for quite some time. This was also the work of the high school and their administrative staff, and we believe that having this ability may be something that would help our students grow, not only, and all types of students, which I think is better than, with one of the reasons it was taken away 10 years ago, it only favored one type of student, where we're really saying it will favor all types of students at Walt Whitman High School. And thank you for your time.
Questions for Dr. Murphy? I have one question for you on one of your bullet points. It says only 1 study hall allowed per grades 11 and 12. It doesn't mention 9 and 10. I assume they don't have any.
9 and 10 would be stipulated because we're looking at advanced court. They would not be allowed any study halls during their underclassmen.
Okay.
And really, with the constraints and the requirements of graduation, there really should be no study halls within your underclass. We are requiring that all students with a 9-period day have to take a lunch. That is the mental health aspect. They're able to take that 45 minutes, be able to say, I'm going to take this time for myself to socialize with my friends, to be able to say, I need this time whenever it's devoted to me. But as an underclassman, really there should be no ability until we start reaching graduation requirements to take a study hall.
And the studies halls were when when 9-period day was reduced to 8-period years ago. The study halls was a big factor. We had a lot of students with multiple study halls, and so I think it's good to limit that. How do you actually limit it? Does will the computer issue an error message if you try to schedule more than one?
When scheduling, when student each student sees a counselor one-on-one to be able to do their programming. Counselors have the final say in their program after meeting with the student, and basically there would be requirements, and it would be a policy that no student, unless it's obviously there's a specific reason, it'd have to be a principal approved study hall for an underclassman, but there would be no study halls issued because of that reason.
Questions for Dr. Murphy? Okay, great. Thank you, Dr. Murphy. I know one of the other factors years ago was cost, so we need to make sure that this is affordable for 2023, 2024 budget, as well as sustainable beyond that. Dr. DeLee, you want to address that?
Sure. First off, I'd like to thank Dr. Murphy and the high school team. There's a lot of work into this presentation, and a lot of good work. And I was here years ago when wasn't the happiest of times in South Huntington when we went from a 9-period to an 8-period day. And, one of the reasons there was a financial impact. But we are expecting to be fully funded with our foundation aid this coming spring. And, it's an opportune time now that we present this option to the Board of Education. So because it's very important, because like I said, I lived here when 9 periods went to 8. I don't want to be here again if it ever goes back from 9 periods to 8 periods. One of the ways we're going to fund it is through retirements. What that means is when a teacher retires, I'll just bring up a teacher, it could be from any unit, but when a teacher retires, there is what we call breakage. And from the teacher leaving to the new teacher, if that teacher is being replaced, to the new salary. So moving forward, we are going to earmark retirements to keep the 9-period day sustainable. It's not for 1 or 2 years. We would not present this to the Board of Education if we felt this was only a 1 or 2 year and let's see what happens. Yes, we don't know what the world brings us from day to day, but this is something that I'm super excited about because what Dr. Murphy mentioned, it hits all levels of students at the high school. It impacts every level in a positive way. And I just feel the data will be there. after we have this potentially for a year or two, that we could see the benefits that all of our students will be able to benefit from. This is not for one group. This is for all students, and that to me is the reason why it is so appealing. And as I mentioned, being fully funded with foundation aid and using teacher breakage, I can sit up here with confidence in saying that we will keep this going if the board so chooses for the foreseeable future.
Thank you, Dr. Lilia. Even though this is, obviously it's budgetary impact, but the reason we're bringing it up at this point is because the high school needs to start scheduling soon, so that's why it's being discussed in November, because I believe they start next month.
They start on, really the scheduling process, students start making their course selections by December 1st. So at that point, they would start selecting what course they take, so we'd have to change parameters on how many courses they're allowed to request.
Thoughts from the board?
I'm on the curriculum committee, but and just as Dr. Murphy said, we discussed it a lot. But I definitely, even though I was a child of an eight period generation, the benefits of the 9th period just seems to really be a lot of perks. And as multiple people have said, it just seems to benefit all the students, regardless of academic ability, ENL, et cetera. So that was a big push, and we did sort of press on the funding because obviously that's an important part. But no, I thought it was. I think it's great. So.
Thank you, Ms. Bronson. Ms. LaCara, you're the curriculum council chair?
Yes, we discussed it for quite a while, and I was always in favor of it. My 2 children graduated, and they had 9 periods, and they were musicians. So what you can't even fit in is if you want to continue band or orchestra. If they want to take that to 12th grade, there's really almost no way. And it not only helps my children who were here, but also like the whole range of children now, all the spectrum that are in South Huntington now. So I think it favors all the students. It gives them, more benefits.
Great. Thank you, Ms. LaCara. Thank you for shepherding this through curriculum council. Any other comments by board members? Okay. We don't have it on for a resolution, but we need a sense of everyone's approval. Ms. Meyer?
I just want to thank Dr. Murphy, the high school administration, the curriculum council, everyone that was involved in this very thorough analysis and thoughtful presentation. I think is fantastic. And I think, as chair of the wellness committee as well, it's wonderful to see that we're also addressing the social emotional piece, both with the required lunch and the fact that that reflects the student data that we've seen as well, that's an area of improvement. So in addition to everything everyone else shared about the benefits, very excited about that as well.
Ms. Gregg, Ms. Biagazzo, you on board?
Yes, absolutely. And the other part of it that I like to thank you for the presentation was that it was done in a way when you only really just shaved 5 minutes off the periods. That was always a concern. So you want the 9-period day, but you didn't want it to be at the expense of the other subjects suffering. And somehow we did it. We're only shaving 5 minutes off the periods, and we're still ending by 2:15. And that also I think is extremely important too. And it allows students to take multiple electives. And I agree with the whole study hall. I just never understood it. And at the end of the day, I don't think that they work. And I think this works much better.
Mr. Gregg, good.
I am definitely for this as well, for a very similar reason that Ms. LaCara mentioned, being that, if you are a musician, which is something that's very near and dear to my heart, it enables you to continue that passion and continue to grow that passion without having to forsake any other academic endeavors.
Great, thank you. Okay, so we'll move. Yes, Samantha, what do you think? You think it'll be well received? And
Hi, so good night, everyone. Just kind of in agreement to what everyone else was saying. I know when I was making my schedule for my senior year, voices is only one section, and that's kind of the choir class in our school. So when I was making my schedule, I had to sacrifice a lot. I don't have a lunch period this year either, so that was really difficult to deal with. I'm still trying to manage it all. But yeah, I think it's great that we're making a 9-period day. I've always dreamt of having more time, especially while I was making my schedule. I would have maybe taken an extra AP, maybe computer science. It would have helped me figure out my major a lot sooner. But I think it's great, and I think it's going to be very beneficial to all students, like you were saying, like the monitored children support. I think that's great, and it would help them get to graduation on track, and I think that's very important also. So while it does give students an opportunity to take even more classes, it also does give them an opportunity to just stay on track and get that support they need. And even that lunch period where they're going to have time to breathe, which is very important, trust me. So I think it's a great proposal, and I hope to see it through next year.
Excellent. So it looks like we're all on board. So you can, with budget development is our next item, you can plan to add this in our preliminary budget, and you can let your fellow classmates know that they can they look forward to having another period next year.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Speaking of the budget, item number 2 is the approval of the, it says 2022-23 budget development calendar, but that should be 2023, 2024. Time is flying, yes. Approval of 2023-2024 budget development calendar. Is there a motion? Mr. Bronson, seconded by Ms. Meyer. Dr. Centimore.
Thank you. While the budget process is really a 24/7, 365 endeavor, we do have a timeline, and that is kicked off, and the outline for you is in the memo, and with your approval, we will get that moving.
Okay. Any questions on that? All right. So all in favor? Any opposed? And we begin our meetings officially in February with the overview. And you'll see the 9-period day as part of that. Also, as I mentioned before, next meeting we will be discussing armed security. So that's also a budgetary consideration. And the district has been discussing that for a while. We received bids. We have our bids back, and the board plans on discussing this item at our December meeting. Okay, moving forward to item number 3, approval of the general fund for publication. Motion. Mr. Bronson, seconded by Mr. Scragg. Dr. Centimore.
Thank you. At the end of each school year, external auditors, they perform their closing of our books, called the end year review. It gets vetted through the audit committee, and then the external auditor, in our case, Abrams, comes and presents to the board. This all occurred in October. Once that occurs, there's a requirement that the fund balance be published in a local paper, and for you tonight is the request for approval to publish our fund balance as a result of the end of year external audit.
Okay. Any questions on this? Was reviewed by audit, Mr. Bronson, or this is not really part of audit review?
Yeah, not part of audit review.
Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Moving on to new business item number 4 is the approval of the settlement agreement. Motion. Ms. Meyer, seconded by Mr. Biangasso. This is the approval of a settlement agreement discussed in executive session on multiple occasions between the South Huntington Union Free School District and Acme Bus Corporation regarding a dispute between the parties concerning services or the lack thereof provided by Acme Bus Corp during the part of the school year in 2020 in which we were forced close due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Any questions on this? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Moving on to new business item number 5 is the approval of attendance at the National School Board Association Convention in Orlando, Florida. Motion. Ms. Lucara, seconded by Mr. Biangasso. This is for board members to attend, or cabinet members as well, to attend the National School Board Association Annual Convention in Orlando, Florida in early April. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Any other board members that would like to attend? Feel free, and please let Ms. Caliendo know. All right, moving on to new business item number 6 is the approval of attendance at a conference. Motion. Mr. Bronson, seconded by Ms. Meyer. This is for a board member and any other board members interested to attend a advocacy workshop on December 8th in Bethpage State Park for how to effectively advocate with your state and federal representatives. And we'll be hearing from Assemblyman Fred Thiel, so that's very worthwhile. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, moving on to new business item number 7 is a request for out-of-country field trip to France. Motion. Ms. Meyer, seconded by Ms. LaCara. Dr. Murphy, tell us about this.
Yes. Yes, the trip to France, it's going to be from March 31st to April 9th. Our World Language Department has routinely, even pre-COVID, always taken a trip somewhere. It's our AP French and French 4 students' turn to take a week-long trip to France during the month of April, right in the beginning. It's a great experience, great time. I know that we've been to Italy, we've been to Spain, and it's all through, a lot of them are through the World Language Department.
Great. Visiting beautiful sites as well. So, any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Moving on to new business item number 8 is another field trip approval, a little closer to home. Motion? Mr. Bronson, seconded by Ms. Meyer. Dr. Murphy?
Well, they can go to Epcot and go to France and Epcot Center. So we can, this is for our annual trip. Well, we have not been there since COVID, but our pre-COVID, our dance team, the Wildcat dance team, would normally go every year to Orlando to compete in the national dance competition. They are resurging and trying again and getting over to Orlando. They were able to make their regional quarterfinals, so they're able to be in attendance for this national dance conference and championship event. They'll be going from March, the first weekend in March, and we look forward to seeing them do well there, just much like their cheerleaders, which will also be around the same time.
All right, great. Universal Studios, I could see Harry Potter, I guess.
I got to get to the Star Wars. I haven't been there yet. So
Yeah, that's.
I feel I'm a failure as a Star Wars fan.
Disney, right? That's Disney.
That's Disney.
Yeah. Okay, questions on the trip? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Moving on to new business, item number 9 is approval of data privacy and security agreements. Is there a motion? Ms. LaCara, seconded by Mr. Scragg. Dr. Steele?
Yes, we have 2 learning platforms tonight. One is GimKit, used in the secondary schools. It is a game show platform where students participate in answering questions and earning virtual funds to move on. And Savis Learning Company is a K-12 curriculum used to reinforce reading and math skills. And of course, they're agreeing to secure our students' data.
Okay. All in favor? Ms. Meyer. Oh, sorry. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, approved. New business item number 10, approval of placements by the Committee on Special Education. Dates listed in March, April, May, June, August, September, October, and November, and preschool special education, various dates listed. Motion. Ms. Meyer, second. Mr. Scragg, any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? What's that? Item 11. Oh, okay. Yeah, they changed. There's a couple add-ons as well, so. New business item number 11 is a request for homebound instruction. Is there a motion? Ms. Meyer, seconded by Mr. Scragg. This was discussed in executive session, but Ms. Propillo, it looks like there was a change in the commissioner's regulations on this, and if you could just talk about that change.
Yes, there was an emergency amendment to Part 100 of the regulations of the Commissioner of Education. The section was intended to provide clarity to school districts under the circumstances wherein homebound instruction may be requested and delivered. In the case where a homebound instruction request is denied, the parent or guardian may appeal the denial to the school district's Board of Education. So the matter was discussed, obviously, in executive session, and the details were provided for your review and final decision regarding the request.
Thank you, Ms. Propillo. Thank you for the information provided. As Ms. Propillo mentioned, this is comes to us following a denial, and so the board hears the appeal, and we'll vote on the request for homebound instruction. We're going to amend the request for homebound instruction. The request was for 1 to 2 additional months. We're going to amend the request to permit, if the board so votes, homebound instruction to continue through the end of December, with then the student having the option of coming back full-time to Waltman High School or going into the health program and transition that way. So with that caveat, I will take a vote. All in favor of that resolution? Any opposed? Okay. Thank you. And Ms. Propillo, can you prepare a letter along those guidelines? Okay, thank you. Moving on to new business, item number 12 is approval of a chaperone. I don't know if I have any documentation on this. Oh, here it is, okay. This is a chaperone for the NISMA All-State Winter Conference in Rochester. Motion? Mr. Scraggs, seconded by Ms. LaCarra. Dr. Murphy, these are new items that were just added on.
Yes, this is our NISMA State Conference. This is where students perform up in Rochester. This normally happens, we have another district has a chaperone, the bus trip going up to Rochester, where then they will drop our students off to one of our assigned chaperones that will be already up there. We've done this before. We work with other districts. It's just wanted to make sure that the board was aware of this and because of the time frame of when they're going up.
Okay. Right. Do we pay the chaperone?
No, they're chaperoning, they're accompanying their own students. This is just a combined transportation issue where they all go up together.
Okay. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? And last but not least, approval of new business item number 13 is the approval of an agreement between the Elwood Union Free School District and the South Huntington Union Free School District. Apologize for the lateness of this, but this just came to us and it starts soon, so we didn't want to wait until December for it. Is there a motion to discuss? Mr. Bronson, seconded by Ms. Meyer. Dr. D'Elia, can you tell us about this?
Yes, we have a student from the Elwood School District that would like to participate on our fencing team, which is a winter sport, and actually it has started Monday, so it requires Board of Education approval for the student to participate with our fencing team.
Okay. Any questions? Oh, yes, question, Mr. Bronson.
When we have a out-of-district student participate in something like this, are they then subject to our school district sort of policies and values and cultures? Because obviously they're going to be interacting with our team.
Yes.
Is that part of the? Okay.
Yep.
And is this student participating in our fencing team because his district does not have a
Correct. Elwood does not have a fencing team. And we've had other agreements in the past where we've had students from our district join other school districts because we didn't have that particular team.
And this agreement does say that the student shall be governed by our rules, including the athletic and the student code of conduct, and he also, or person, will also need to abide by the concussion management protocol as well. Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, personnel schedules, 9, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 20, and 22. Motion. Mr. Bronson, seconded by Ms. LaCarra. Any questions on the personnel schedules? All in favor? Any opposed? Information reports are listed. Of note was a nice article in the Huntington Now on the ribbon cutting that took place a couple weeks ago over at the new Stimson Middle School Pays Lab. It is a wonderful space. It was a beautiful program put together. It was very, very emotional, and it was great to bring a beautiful new room to Stimson Middle School and our life skills students. Information reports are listed. Future meetings. Our next and last meeting in 2022 will be on December 14th. We'll have a musical presentation as well as a curriculum presentation on elementary science. And then we pick up in the new year, January 11th. Comments by board members. Oh, wait, hold on a sec. Where are the, they must have skipped something. Okay, they got buried there. Curriculum, administrative reports and curriculum updates. Curriculum council, anything else to report, Ms. LaCarra?
We reported last month.
Okay.
So, right, John? Yeah.
Yeah, we've reported everything we needed for last month. Our meeting's actually tomorrow. We'll report next time.
Yeah.
All right, Facilities Committee met yesterday for our normal lengthy meeting. It was an important meeting because we discussed the upcoming projects that we're going to recommend for construction and approval in this budget. We will have a fuller report on that at our December meeting, but it was important to act because also with the expenditures in the budget, we needed to set a budget for the transfer to capital. That budget's set at about $3.25 million, and we'll discuss those projects recommended at the next meeting. But generally, we're trying to follow the 7-year blueprint that we discussed and approved last year. Wellness Committee, Ms. Meyer.
Yes, thank you. The Wellness Committee met on October 28th as a fast follow-on to our first Wellness Committee meeting. And here we had the opportunity to review several wellness and nutrition policies from other school districts that Mrs. Busey had been able to provide. We looked at, I think, over half a dozen of them to see what other districts are doing and focusing on. Our conclusion was most of the policies were still very nutrition focused because of the requirement that they have to be audited by the state. And we feel that given the objective that we've set out for the Wellness Committee, South Huntington's policy, once we are complete with revising it, will be the most holistic among all the school districts in our area, which we're very proud of. So as next steps, we're working on drafting some new areas of that policy. Mr. Barth will be taking the lead on the health and sports section, and we'll be adding some of the other components that I mentioned last time. So we'll be looking forward to meeting with the policy committee in the new year to share our proposed updated policy.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Meyer. Chef? I know Chef had a meeting, and they got a couple events coming up, so.
Yes, just 3 items of note as we continue to raise funds to enhance our students' education and the building's ability to educate our students. The first is a Saturday is our fine arts and crafts fair at Whitman. That is going to be just an opportunity to kind of walk around, and we'll have 100+ local artists, professional artists, displaying their work and selling some of their work for you. Chef's part in that. They'll have a snack stand set up where you can grab a quick snack as you kind of peruse and support the local arts here in Huntington. The other one is that we have our holiday basket up for a raffle, so you can buy tickets for that as we do this every other month. Both of those items are on flyers out in the foyer. And then just one other item of note is that we are going to be providing a service to all of the parents of the district in selling white collared shirts for the students who participate in any of our performances. If you are like me, I plan on taking full advantage of this so that I don't have to be at Target the night before buying a size shirt, if I can even find one. It doesn't even fit my son. So we'll be selling the shirts to parents to provide that service and make things a little bit easier around the holiday season.
Thank you, Mr. Scragg. And you mentioned the crafts fair. The money for that crafts fair has been raised over the course of the few years, and it's going to pay off with the construction of the art gallery, which is now under construction and should open in the new year. All right. Comments by the superintendent, Dr. D'Elia.
Okay, we have some really good news. Maplewood was selected to represent New York State in the America Celebrates Ornament Program, which that means it's the National Christmas Tree at the White House. There is one school, one class per state that actually gets to decorate ornaments. And Mrs. Polanco's 3rd grade class at Maplewood were the fortunate ones that decorated ornaments, and they're going to be placed on the National Christmas Tree, representing New York State. And we're
very cool.
Also, our Winter Wonderland, it's almost here. And as I promised, the surprise this year, the add-on, is we're having a horse and carriage on the field at Stimson. So just making it bigger and better every year, as promised. So we're really looking forward to it. We're crossing our fingers that Mother Nature is going to treat us well that Sunday. You know, the temperature may be cold. There's not much we could do about that, but as long as no rain. It was cloudy last year, but it was awesome. We had a tremendous amount of student support, and we will be getting a lot of communications out over the next week and a half. So, and there'll be a call from me that that Sunday, November 27th, indicating that come on down. The long weekend, we're off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Parents, I'm sure, are going to want to do something with their kids on Sunday. So we have a great event, and a lot of people have been working on this, and we're looking forward to it being a unique event in South Huntington. And my last comment is, not so much a comment, just an announcement. We do have tickets for the Mets-Yankee game. I know baseball just ended, but we just confirmed. It's June 13th. It is a Tuesday night. It is at 7 o'clock, so it will be a little tricky. It's not in the middle of the summer where you know, getting over to City Field is not, you know, the quickest and easiest, but we will have the opportunity to walk the warning track and sing the national anthem again at one of the most celebrated sports events in New York. So we're looking forward to that again, and more informal communications will go out right after the new year. And that's my report.
Thank you, Dr. D'Elia. Ms. Regalado, anything else you'd like to add?
Just that I really do. I'm really excited for the 9th period day. That's kind of what I'm taking away from this. But everything else, I'm just in agreement with everything. Everything seems really good.
Yours going well?
Everything's going well, yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Good, thank you. Okay, just a couple other things. Tomorrow night is Maplewood's Night Out at Croxley Ale House in Farmingdale, so come support Maplewood. And also, I want to congratulate and thank Woburn High School Principal Kenneth Costa, who helped organize a car show with the American Legion that took place on Sunday. And for battling the elements, which included 30-degree drop in temperature and rain and wind, but there was still a good turnout, and a lot of hopefully money was raised, and they also collected needed supplies for the veterans. So it was really it was a nice event, and they mentioned you know, Mr. Costa, Dr. Murphy, Dr. D'Elia, and they were very appreciative of their support as well as the support of everybody else in the district. So it was very nice. Thank you. And I think that's it.
I was just gonna wish everybody a very happy, healthy, and safe Thanksgiving, because that's Thanksgiving's coming before our next meeting. My brother-in-law has convinced me to fry a turkey, so hopefully I will survive. I've never done it before, but hopefully I'll see you all after Thanksgiving.
Voice of the residents, comments. Yes. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Christina Holsweiss, and I'm a parent here, and I've been an educator for 28 years, going on 38. I just want to say that I am very, very happy about this 9-period day at the high school. This will help our students to learn more during the school day so they can compete with other schools around Long Island for college acceptances and jobs, and perhaps even get even more scholarships. So I just want to formally congratulate the district on this. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you, Ms. Holsweiss. Thank you. All right, anyone else like to address the board? Okay, with that, we will take a motion to adjourn to go into executive session to discuss matters of personnel. Motion. Mr. Biagasso, seconded by Mr. Scragg and Ms. LaCara. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you.